Ready. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a lovely Wednesday. Good afternoon. So we are here for the webinar dissertation, attitude, committee, and topic selection. I'm just trying to make some small talk while we wait for everyone to get here and for the time to start. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Oh. All right, it is 3 o'clock, so let's get started. Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Joanna Broussard, the qualitative specialist here at Statistics Solutions, a full-service dissertation and educational research consulting company. And we are all here for the webinar dissertation, attitude, committee, and topic selection. So let's get started. I do entertain questions throughout. The chat is up so I can see it and I can respond at the moment you ask it. So that way there's a better chance that you will, when you receive the recording, because you will receive a recording in a few days of this, you will have the question and the answer connected to the topic. But if time permits, I will open up the floor at the end for additional questions. So let us begin. We'll start with attitude, and I will begin by saying that what I'm about to say is easier said than it is done, but it is important to remember. The dissertation process is long. It can take 2-3 years sometimes. It can be very tedious. A lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of analyzing, a lot of reanalyzing, a lot of rereading, a lot of rewriting. So make sure you stay focused on things you can control. I know how hard that is. It's so much easier and it's so much better for you if you can stay focused on the things you can control instead of worrying about the things you cannot. So keep that in mind. It is something to have maybe write on your corkboard or on your laptop on a sticky note so you can have a reminder to ask yourself, can I control this thing that is stressing me out? But you should also stay in balance. Take every chance you can to diffuse some stress. I know you've probably been told, always be working on your dissertation, always be writing, but take one day a week, if at all possible, to spend time with friends, with family, relax, play with your dog, play with your cat, play with your bunny rabbit, play with your snake. Binge watch your favorite comfort television show, binge watch your favorite movies, eat your favorite comfort foods. Take a day to just be, where you don't worry about being productive, but you simply enjoy the day. Time frames are important. You want to keep making timely progress, but you don't want to see the time frame as the end-all be-all of your existence. Sure, it's nice to finish in a year. Many schools push for that, but you should also consider 2 years isn't bad. 3 years isn't terrible. Good research, doing the research well, doing the research at a pace that is feasible for you and your lifestyle and what else is going on in your life and the world is more important. And of course, you should try to let go of any unrealistic expectations. The example, thinking that you won't need any revisions. There will always be revisions. Other examples, oh, I will get the data I need and it will be instant and its meaning will be instantly identifiable. Sometimes you have to analyze your data 2 or 3 times to really see what it means. Sometimes things take longer than you expect them to, which is why you need to pick a good committee. And I know it can be scary, it can be daunting, because these 3 to 5 people will be extremely essential in your progress. So once you've selected your chair, the chair may have a few suggestions on who you should consider, but ultimately, you have to be the one who interviews these people for the job of serving on your committee. Choose the committee that will serve you best. And to do that, you'll need to do your research on each potential member. Email other students who have worked with them. Look at papers they've published. Is their area of expertise something that could help you? Is it complementary? And if you are in an American PhD program that has courses, take a course, if at all possible, from potential committee members. That way you get a sense of how they provide feedback and how much time they have available. So always ask the potential committee members questions. What kind of time do they have to be on your committee? Faculty at different universities will have different commitments to committees, graduate students, service, their own research, their own family. What kind of time do they have? How often can they be available to meet and discuss? What is their feedback style? That's why I suggested taking a class with them. Are they micromanagers, or are they going to just sort of trust you to get everything done and then come in at the end of the process and give you feedback? Do they give detailed feedback? Do they give vague feedback? These are types of things you have to think about as you balance who will be on your committee. And some other tips you might want to think about. Do you think you can work with them? Remember that the dissertation is research by committee. You are doing most of the work, but the committee is going to be involved to one degree or another that's individual to each member. Does their personality work with yours? Are they someone you can get along with and have a positive collegial relationship? Remember, if you're going to be in academia, if you're looking for recommendations after grad school, committee members are good people to have as your recommendations. And so, is this someone that you can work with? Will it be a productive professional experience during the process and after the process? Do they have skills, knowledge that you or another member of your committee doesn't? Are you not as familiar with the proposed method as they are? They could be a great resource. Do they maybe have a connection to your research site or your research population? That could be a thing that they could provide that you don't have automatically. So these are things to think about. Are they familiar with your proposed methods? Will they be able to understand the research that you're putting forward each step of the way? They may not know the specific subject matter, but they need to know enough of the method, the theory, and things like that, so they can start on the same page as everyone else. And in general, try to stay away from people who either you or your chair do not know. They might be very helpful. They might be amazing. But if neither you nor your chair knows them, it can be sort of a random chance wild card experience working with them. And you want to avoid as many unknowns and uncertainties in the selection process as you can, because the more things you can take control of and have confidence in this being a good way to go about the process, the more likely you are to have success. And last but not least, trust your instincts. Only you know what's best for you and your project. Someone may be a great researcher, but if they're not personable, if they don't have time, if their working style is antithetical to yours, it will lead to tensions that you don't need during this stressful and important process. And if this potential committee member has conflicts with your chair, that can be even more problematic. So these are all sorts of things that you really do have to keep in mind. Ultimately, you are to use an American movie example, you are the Nick Fury putting together your Avengers. You have to find a team that will hopefully be less volatile than the Avengers were, but still have as many amazing skills. You want the team to work for you and with you. This needs to be a collaborative process. And so at least with your chair, but possibly with your entire committee, you will move forward to work on selecting your topic. So let's talk about how we will select our topic. One way to think about it is to work backwards. What variables are you interested in? How would you want to collect your data? What about secondary data? What are some things that brought you to getting a degree in this field, in this program? What are you passionate about that you feel you could research for a year, 2 years, 3 years? I had one friend in grad school who took 6 years to finish his dissertation. What topic can sustain your interest that brought you here? So, one place to start is to find some papers that are in similar areas of interest. As you read through the papers and taking courses, if that's something your school has you do, is a really good way to see what people are writing about, what people are talking about, what's popular to study at this point in time, and what are some of the gaps in the literature? What are they not saying about a particular topic? Are there any future directions that are mentioned in some of the papers that you've read that you go, oh, I could study that. That seems like something I would want to talk about. Are there any issues or limitations that you could turn into question? Well, maybe you read a paper that you found fascinating about programs that benefit first generation English language learners among Latin populations in southern Texas. Well, and one of the limitations you will often see in something like that, I have a client who that's her dissertation topic, and one of her limitations was, I don't know if this could be broadened to other populations where English is not their first language but are learning English in school. Maybe you could look at that limitation and say, well, let's look at Arabic speakers for whom English is not their first language, but they're learning about it and they're learning it in school, or Mandarin, or Korean, or Swahili, or some other language, or Basque, maybe Basque immigrants from Europe, and their children are learning English in school, and so they're having to learn from learn as a second language. So these are things. Maybe you could extend it to another population. Maybe you could extend to a different demographic or a different age range in the same population, or maybe Latin students in Southern California, and see if you find maybe that could be an interesting study to produce similar or different results. Produce multiple questions that interest you, and then you can pick from there. With topic selection, with research data, it's always better to have more than you think you're going to need and have to cut away than it is to not have enough and then have to figure out what to do to make it enough. So that's why you should have multiples. And then keep in mind that your research question needs to be reasonable. You want it to be big enough that you can produce an expansive and detailed study, but it needs to be small enough that you can complete it in a reasonable time frame. 1 to 2 years is the time frame you should be going for. And so this is something to think about as you plan, because When you're thinking of a question, how much data would I need? How long will it take me to collect this data? How long will it take me to analyze the data? Since I work with qualitative researchers, that often involves transcribing interviews. If when I was in grad school, we had to transcribe our own interviews because there weren't really that many transcription services. And so a rule of thumb, 1 hour of interview time takes between 3 and 4 hours of transcription time. And if you're hiring a transcription service, what's their turnaround time? What's their volume? How busy are they at present? So these are things you have to think about as you're planning the scope of your research question. ProQuest, Google Scholar, libraries at your university are great places to look for literature to help you find ideas, to see what could be done in 1 year, in 2 years. As you're working on your topic selection and you're reading the literature, we always suggest producing an annotated bibliography. As you go, write your bibliographic reference, provide a summary of the research question, the methods, and the findings, 1 to 2 paragraphs or so for each paper. This way you can, one, see if there are any common questions that continue to pop up that may or may not receive full answers. And two, as you go back and look at the literature, it's much easier to see what will help you if you have, the literature, have a summary of what a particular article is as opposed to just looking at a citation. The more data you have early that will help you, the easier it is to write when it comes time to writing. And if you get stuck, you can ask your chair for professional opinions. Is this big enough question? Is this question too big? I want to study this topic, but I'm really not sure of a specific question, but this is what I found in the literature. Can you help me? They will be helpful, hopefully. They will be respectful, but they will also be honest, and they will tell you what they think as a professional. So, this was a simple, straightforward, quick down and dirty presentation. Do you have any questions? Okay. Oh, you're more than welcome. And speaking of information, should you need more assistance, Statistics Solution is a full-service dissertation consulting company providing graduate students and other professionals timely editorial support for their dissertations and scholarly projects. For information on our services and to receive a completely free 30-minute consultation, you can contact us at info@statisticsolutions.com or phone us at country code 1-727-442-4290, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We help with everything from qualitative to quantitative, from topic selection all the way through to preparing for your final defense. We have experts who are here to help. We have experts who have years of expertise. No. It's not a bad idea to start early, Kathleen, because getting the information, having a plan in place before you get started will help reduce some of the anxiety. The dissertation writing process is a long, stressful, anxiety-inducing process. Many times students feel like they're alone, but I can promise you, you're not alone. Everyone's going through the same emotions. They're just afraid to vocalize it. But for those who are afraid, but still want help, that's where we come in. We're here to help. And sometimes that help is just listening and helping you see that you know what you're talking about and you're able to do this because you are. You've made it this far in your academic career. You're smart enough to do this. You can finish this. You can have a successful, completed dissertation in a timely manner. But I know it's hard, and that's why we offer these webinars. That's why we offer our services. We are here to help. Petition, you are more than welcome. So I will hold open the call for questions for a little bit longer. Going once. First year. What key advice would I give you for exploring a popular topic, but on an understudied population? Well, in general, the advice I would offer is to find all the literature you can on the topic so you can be intimately familiar with the topic to the best of your ability. And then look at, and maybe sort of, and then some research as well on this understudied population. Maybe there are reasons why this population is understudied. Maybe there, maybe no, maybe I have become loath to say that people just don't think about doing certain things because most people do, but for whatever reason they don't always study certain populations. But you need to know your topic, you need to know the population, you'll need to formulate at least an idea as to why that population is understudied, and then be able to articulate potentially to a chair and to your committee why it is important to study this topic as it relates to this population. That would be my advice without knowing too many details specifically with your topic and population, because sometimes, and this is sort of the annoying thing with helping in general with research, it will depend upon your topic, it will depend upon your stance toward your topic, and things will depend upon the time frame you have to study and write about this topic. And so resources, which include financial resources, time, energy, physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. And so self-care is important. You do not have to write every day. You do not have to work all the time. As we said in the beginning, you are human beings who deserve to rest. Take the time to rest at least one day a week. I know it feels like you're probably going to fall behind, but in the end, resting will help sustain you. Writing a dissertation is like running a marathon, not a sprint. You need to prepare for the long haul and hydrate. Drink your water, get your sleep, eat good food, nourish your body, nourish your mind, nourish your spirit. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, going once, going twice. If there are no other questions, do remember, everyone, you can do this. You're smart enough, you're capable enough, and if you need assistance, we are here to help. info@statisticsolutions.com is a place you can go to receive your the information you need and help that you could have, that we can help from start to finish. We have people who are specialized in all types of research. We are here from you. So if there are no further questions, ein, zwei, drei. I bid you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you need us, we are here to help. You will receive a recording of this in a couple of days so that you can look back over this. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you are. Thank you.